You know, Mrs. Hogg, you have a way of showing respect to your God that would make the average atheist green with envy, said the dark figure. It yawned.
Thank you, Your Grace.
No one even dances for me now. Is that too much to ask?
Just as his
Of course you have not, little Mrs. Hogg. No iron can enter this realm. I have the iron that goes everywhere, said Nanny. She took her hand out of her open pocket and held up a horseshoe. Catherine heard scuffles around him as he
Turn left onto Dunslow Road.
More steam hissed up as a brazier of hot stones was overturned. Take it away. I'll take it away when I go, said Nanny. Now you listen to me. He's making trouble again. You've got to do it.
In 300 yards, turn left to stay on Dunslow Road.
Your motto can be powerful, then. It was a snort. You can't ever rule again back in the world, said Nanny.
Turn left to stay on Dunslow Road.
There's too much iron. Iron rusts.
In a wobbler, it wouldn't accept it unless I put in Ayton Castle.
Nanny Hogg nudged
If I have Ayton Castle in the room, it's vanguard.
A party of elves had found a nest of young rabbits which, in conjunction with a nearby ant-heap, kept them amused.
I assume you just asked
Even
about
meek and blind and voiceless have gods. Herne the hunted, god of the chase, crept through the bushes and wished fervently that gods had gods. The elves had their backs to him as they hunkered down to watch closely. Herne the hunted crawled under a clump of bramble, tense with prey. He sank his teeth in an elf's calf until they met, and was flung away as it screamed.
Exit the roundabout onto B1261.
He wasn't built to fight.
Continue on B1261 for 3/4 of a mile.
And elves could run faster. He bounced over logs and skidded through drifts and leaves, aware even as his vision fogged that elves were overtaking him on either side, pacing him, waiting for him to... said Nanny. We see the shape we've given him. She let the rock drop back and dusted off her hands. But why should he want to stop her? Well, he's her husband after all. He can't stand her. It's what you might call an open marriage. Wait, what out? Said Catherine, looking around to see if there were any more elves. Oh, you know, said Nanny, waving a hand. All this iron and books and clockwork and universities and reading and such like, he reckons it'll all pass, see? And one day it'll all be over and people will look up at the skyline at sunset, and there he'll be. Catherine found himself turning to look at the sunset beyond the mound, half imagining the huge figure outlined against the afterglow. One day he'll be back, said Nanny softly, when his iron in the head is rusting. Catherine put his head on one side. You don't move around among different species for most of your life without learning to read a lot of their body language, especially since it's in such large print. You won't entirely be sorry, eh? He said. Me? I don't want them back. They're untrustworthy and cruel and arrogant parasites, and we don't need them one bit. Bet you $50? Nanny was suddenly flustered. Don't you look at me like that. Amy's right. Of course she's right. We don't want elves anymore. Stands to reason. Ainsley's the short one, is she? Oh, no. Ainsley's the tall one with the nose. You know her. Right, yes. The short one is my grat. She'd have collected the stones. It was wider than it had been. The horses and carriages had churned it on the way up, and the fleeing people had turned it into a mire on the way down. She knew she was being watched, and it almost came as a relief when 3 elves stepped out from under the trees before she'd even lost sight of the castle. The little one grinned. Good evening, girl.
Yeah, I know.
My name is Lord Langley.
In a quarter of a mile, turn right onto Yedmondale Road.
The tone suggested that there was absolutely no possibility that she would disobey. She felt her muscles strain to comply. Queen Inchi wouldn't have obeyed. I happen to be practically the Queen, she said. It was the first time she looked an elf in the face when she was in any condition to notice details. This one was currently wearing high cheekbones and hair tied in a ponytail. It wore odds and ends of rags and lace and fur, confident in the knowledge that anything would look good on an elf. It wrinkled its perfect nose at her. There is only one queen in Lancre, it said, and you are most definitely not her. Magrat tried to concentrate. Where is she then?
Turn right onto Yedmondale Road.
No, carry on.
You are looking for a queen?
I might as well have a look, seeing it's directing us to it.
And lady, should you be inclined to make use of that now?
In 200 yards, turn right.
It says
Most of his
private
face was
parking,
covered in
no
mud.
parking.
And there was a multicoloured bruise over one eye.
And that's the
Did they do that
gate,
to you?
so you can't park there.
Well, the mud and I might be able to hazard a guess, she said. Ponder shook his head.
That's a bit...
It's worse. She was still holding the sword. The helmet kept falling over her eyes, but she padded it a bit with a scrap of wedding dress. Yes, that's right. That's what I am, she said. Absolutely, yes. Here for the wedding, I expect. Like us.
In 200 yards, turn right onto Pickering Road, A170.
Now, tell me what happened, she said, paying particular attention to what happened to the others. Well,
So that won't take long.
He picked up a corner of his torn robe and began to screw it up with his fingers. We all went to see this entertainment, and it was wonderful. And
Continue on A170 for 3 miles.
then the librarian hit me, said Ponder simply. Why? Best if he tells us in his own words, said Ponder. Cough, Julia, over the bender, said the bursar. I didn't understand what the librarian said Magrat. We were all present at an interdimensional rip, said Ponder, caused by belief. The brain was the last little thing that opened it up. There must have been a very delicate area of instability very close. It's hard to describe, but if you had a rubber sheet and some lead weights, I could demonstrate. You were trying to tell me those things exist because people believe in them. Oh, no, it's swarming like bees up there. There's flying ones too. The librarian says they made people get down in trees and things and push those, those stones down. There were stones on a hill. They attacked them. Don't know why. Did you see any witches at the entertainment? Said Magrat. Witches? Couldn't have missed them, said Magrat. There'd be a thin one glaring at everything and a tall, fat one cracking nuts and laughing a lot. And they'd be talking to each other very loudly. And they don't have tall, pointy hats. Can't say I noticed them, said Ponder. Then they couldn't have been there, said Magrat. The ignorance is what being about. She was about to ask if she'd ever been good for this instead. I'm going on up there. You'll need an army, miss. I mean, you'd have been in trouble just now if the librarian hadn't been up in the trees. But I've got an army, so I'm going to have to try by myself, aren't I? This time Magrat managed to spur the horse into a gallop. Ponder watched her go. Folk songs are a lot to answer for, he said to the night air. Ooh. She's going to get utterly killed. Ooh. Hello, Mr. Flowerpot. 2 pints of use if you wish you could. Of course, it could be her destiny. One is some things. We live hand and stick. Tom Stibbons looked embarrassed. Anyone want to follow her? Oops, there he goes with his big clock. Was that a yes? What's yours is? Wobbly wobbly, here comes our Jenny. I think that probably counts as a yes, said Ponder. I've got a lovely little bed. But look, said Ponder, the graveyards are full of people who rushed in bravely but unwisely. What did he say? Said the bursar, passing briefly through reality on his way somewhere else. I think he said, sooner or later the graveyards are full of everybody, said Ponder. Oh, blast. Come on. Yes, indeed, said the bursar. Hands up for the trees, Mr. Bosun. Oh, shut up. Magrat dismounted and let the horse go.